what's going on, guys? Brew Guy 89, and today we're talking about potassium sorbate. Sometimes people call it a stabilizer, but pretty much if your drink is stabilized, it would have potassium sorbate in it. And pretty much what potassium sorbate does in your wine is it doesn't allow any more yeast to grow, and doesn't allow them to ferment. If it so happens to be any yeast that are alive in there, it will not ferment any sugar if you decide to add sugar at the end. So for an example, you make a wine, it's not that sweet, you want to back sweeten it at the end, add a little bit of sugar or honey or another drink to it. The yeast in there are going to start fermenting that sugar, but if you have potassium sorbate in there, it'll prevent it. Basically, it just inhibits molds and yeasts, and they use it actually in cheese and yogurt and meats and actual regular apple cider. So, but if you're ever making it out of wine out of juice, make sure it doesn't have any potassium sorbate or any sulfites in there, because it'll kill the yeast. It'll kill any other bacteria, but it's going to kill the yeast too. So if anybody asks you, or if you're looking for a wine stabilizer, that would be potassium sorbate. And that's what it looks like. Little pellets. You know, you don't use much. I use about 1/8 of a teaspoon per gallon. Let's see what the bottle says though. Yeah, actually, I take that back. It's half a teaspoon per gallon on the potassium sorbate. I was thinking it was something else. Yeah, the potassium sorbate, half a teaspoon per gallon, and that will prevent renewed fermentation when you're sweetening. And that's pretty cheap. That's less than $2. You can find it online or at your wine store. So you might need some of that if you're going to be making some sweet stuff. There's one thing about potassium sorbate you might want to know, that some molds are able to detoxify sorbates, and pretty much it'll give it a smell of kerosene and petroleum. I never had that happen to me, and I don't know what it would taste like, but I'm assuming that you would have some kind of off taste. Another thing too is when you put this in there at the end, let it age for a little bit. Otherwise you might have like a sulfur taste to it, which you probably want to get out of your drink. You don't want it to taste like sulfur. So wait about 2 weeks after you put it in there, and then bottle it, and then let it age for however long you're going to age it, and try to air it out too when you're putting that in. Another thing I was reading about potassium sorbate is that it could irritate your skin and your eyes and your respiratory. So like if you take a sniff of it, you'll even know it doesn't smell good. So try not to breathe it in, and definitely don't get it in your eyes, and try not to touch it, because it could irritate your skin or your eyes, especially your eyes. And this actually doesn't kill yeast. It doesn't kill the yeast, it just stops them from being able to ferment. So you would need to use something like sodium metabisulfite or potassium metabisulfite to kill the yeast before you use this product. That's what I do. So you can try different things out and see how it comes out for you, but this will not kill yeast. You're going to need metabisulfites to kill the living yeast. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. That was potassium sorbate. We'll see you on another video. Thanks for watching Brew Guy 89.